Well, here we are again, folks. And this is Dan C. of Hub City Body Shop. And we're talking about, what it takes to be successful in business. And then also, maintain, that part of you that is your soul, right? Mm. So how can you be successful in business and then maintain and manage the soul part of you at the same time? And then also, how can you leave a lasting impact in the lives of your customer client base, in the lives of the families that work for you as employees, anybody else that's in the community that you may have an opportunity to touch and influence in any positive way? One of the best examples of that is my friend, Dan C., who is also somebody I look up to. He is very successful in business and also a great model of marketing in the West Texas area. And the way that Dan does things is very precise, very detail-oriented, high excellence, high quality, very focused, very customer focused, very family focused. And so that's kind of what we're doing today, is we're just kind of get under the hood, so to speak, of, what does it take to be successful in the body shop industry? And then we'll just kind of take it from there. Dan, what influenced you to get started in the body shop industry?
Well, I would have never dreamed that I would end up in the body shop industry. I went to school to coach and teach. I wanted to be a coach. I loved sports and I loved athletes, and that's what I wanted to do. But when I got done with school, I did a little student teaching, and it turned out I looked like a student when I was that age, and it just didn't feel like it was working at the moment. So I thought, well, I'll come back to that. And of course, 30-something years later, here I am. But out of college, I went to work for a small business lobby group, NFIB, and I did that for a while. Had to travel a lot, so it was kind of hard on a young new family.
Yeah.
So one of the members that I was selling the membership to hired me onto his roofing company, and so I started managing a roofing company, which I would have never dreamed that I would be, involved in. My father was a banker all my young life, and I saw him wear a suit and tie to work every day, and I assumed if I wasn't coaching and teaching, I would do the same. Mm-hmm. But next thing you know, I'm in the roofing industry. And, I did that in Amarillo for about 10 years. And one day I just got an itch to do my own deal. I wanted to be a business owner, and I wanted to make my own way. So I had a great boss in Amarillo, and I didn't want to tread on what he'd already built. So I moved to Dallas, moved to the big city, and decided I was going to start my own roofing company, which, I did well, but it was a horrible decision. The competition there was extremely intense, and the pricing and everything was very low. So I had to do 3 times as much work to make the same kind of money. So it wasn't the best decision at the time, but it was God's plan. Mm-hmm. I got a lot of great experiences, learned a lot.
Yeah.
We got to spread our wings a little bit and be away from our families, and be on our own. We were still pretty young at the time, but during that time period, I fell off a roof and hurt my back really bad, and we were struggling to make it. And my father, who had been a banker for 30 years, all of a sudden decided he wanted to start a body shop. He was done with banking, didn't want to do it anymore. He's tired of that suit and tie. And he thought, what? I love working on my race cars and my hot rods. I'm going to go start a body shop. So, he came to Lubbock from Clovis, New Mexico, and started a body shop. And we were a Mako for about 16 years. We had a 15-year agreement with them as a franchise. And so we painted cars for that for quite a while. When we first started, it was pretty good because it was a family-owned business that had the franchise. Tony Martino out of King of Prussia, Pennsylvania, was the owner, and their family is they ran it. So if we had an issue or anything, we could call Tony, and he was right on it. He was helping us and everything. But unfortunately, Tony passed away, and the family couldn't really hold it together. And they sold it, to some larger companies, and it got by a larger company and a larger company. And eventually it was bought by a company called Driven Brands that is extremely large. And it lost that family feel.
Yeah.
And we became a number. Not being in one of the larger cities in a metroplex, we became what they called a satellite store. And we didn't get any support. So when our 15-year contract was up with them, we didn't renew that. And Dad retired, and we built quite a good presence here in Lubbock, a good reputation, and people love my father. And so he passed it on to me. We got the name Hub City Body Shop, and we've run with it in the last 4 years. We've done really well, but I would have never dreamed that this is where I would have ended up. I love it. It's been a great business, and it's the people that I work with, and the community I'm in. Being in the Metroplex was a neat experience, but it's not Lubbock.
Right.
We're blessed that we live in Lubbock, because I look at the other body shops that were similar to us that are independent. They're not surviving in the big cities, because the large corporations, called MSOs, are coming in. Your Calibers and Gerbers and Crash Champions and people like that are buying up all the small guys, and the insurance companies are, working tightly with them and driving prices down and making it really tough. We're so fortunate that we live in Lubbock right now, because people still care about who they do, their business with. Yeah. And being a family business, we're thriving here.
Absolutely. That's one of the things. You come to this property, which you'll see some shots of the property and stuff like that. But you come to the property and you can feel that energy and that reach that they have, that Hub City has in the community. And so that's one of the things that Dan does really well. The brand is strong in West Texas. And one of the coolest things that I learned about little old Lubbock, Texas, and Hub City Body Shop is Dan's had an opportunity, and his team have had opportunities to work on some really well-known people's cars and some well-known brands as well here in the Lubbock area, from the Lubbock area. So it's really unique. I remember one of the stories, it's one of my favorites, is the Transformer cars, the Transformer movies and different things like that. So tell us a little bit about how that happened.
Well, we had friends of the family that were living here. Jeff Allen was living here, and they moved here from California, and they had a lot of connections out in California, and they would locate cars for movies. And they moved back home after living in California. And when they came back, they still had those connections. So like Tim Allen was a person that they would find cars for and take care of cars for him. But that was kind of our first taste of getting into it. They needed some extra cars for the Transformer movies to be painted and fixed up and look certain ways. So they brought those, and it led to there all kinds of different situations. We did some for the Dukes of Hazzard movie, some of just the extra cars that they had in the background and things like that. Wow. We were able to work on those. We worked on some of the Fast and Furious cars. Wow. Those were really cool. That was a lot of fun. A lot of just TV shows that that have been on. Stranger Things. We worked on all of the police cars except for the sheriff's SUV, but all those 80 model LTDs, we actually my father located those around West Texas, and we brought them back here and painted them to look like police cars. And so we got to do a lot of cool stuff like that. And one of the other cool things that we got to do was they did a television show on CNBC called The Car Chasers. Wow. And they would go find cars and fix them up and flip them to make money. and it was a process. They would see how much money they would make, and we were the body shop that they used to do that. And it opened up a lot of really neat opportunities for us. We got to work on cars that were just super cool. We got an opportunity to go to SEMA, which was really cool. It was kind of funny because that during one of the seasons, they asked the audience what car they would like to do a giveaway for. And we had just finished a 67 Mustang, and we got it. We did a good job for television. So 15 feet from a camera, that car looked really, really good.
Yeah.
But they decided that they were going to give this car away at SEMA.
Wow.
So we were like, you got to bring it back. We got to redo this because if we're going to take this to SEMA, then it needs to look a lot better. So
Gotcha.
they brought it back, and we refinished that, and it gave us an opportunity to go to SEMA and give away that car, and it was really fun to be able to do that.
So like at those big events, what does that do for spreading, maybe the knowledge of who you are? What do you recommend with big events for people in your type of business?
Well, unfortunately, with that stuff, it was kind of funny because Maco's are known for cheap paint jobs.
Okay.
And so they didn't necessarily want to promote so much that we were part of an organization like that, because we did a really good job. We were capable of doing, $100,000 restorations, but we were also capable of giving somebody a $500 paint job.
Yeah.
So we could do a lot, but with those things, we weren't really able to say who we were. But it was really strange because we would still get, I don't know how it happened, but people would figure out where our shop was.
Mm-hmm.
And where the work was being done. We were getting calls from Brazil. We're from all over the world, wanting us to work on cars and restore, vehicles. And we're like, that's not really what we do.
Wow.
We paint cars, and it was an interesting, time period for us.
Yeah, that's a great way to get attention. You never know what's going to happen when you show up in a room like that.
Yeah.
And so going back a little bit to the change from being roofing to figuring out, hey, we're not doing this. What was some of the nuts and bolts of what made that decision? Hey, we're going back into the body shop business. We're going back, family business. What were some of the deeper reasons why that had to happen?
Well, I know for going from my roofing company and coming back here was to keep the family together.
Nice.
I worked really hard at the roofing company I had. I was very proud of it, and but I was working way too much, and it wasn't family friendly. I had 2 young ones at home, and we bought a big house outside of Frisco, and had all the things.
Yeah.
But I was never home.
Yeah.
So, it was one day I came home and my wife was like, we got a problem. And, she said, you're providing, you're doing a great job of providing, but you're not here.
Yeah.
And so, that kind of, made me kind of stop and think, you know what, I am missing out on a lot. So along with, health problems, with my back and not having any family time. Dad was in Lubbock. We couldn't ever get together because he was working so much.
Yeah.
And we missed our families. We missed West Texas. And so it wasn't that hard of a decision, to give that up, even though I was really proud of what I had done there. Mm-hmm. Being able to have family time was important. So coming back to Lubbock, and I got to spend 16 wonderful years working with my mom and dad.
Wow.
And not everybody gets to do that.
That's true.
This year, Dad had a really severe heart attack.
Yeah.
And while we were in the ER, and I was looking down at him and they were fixing to roll him back, not knowing if he was going to make it or not. I can remember thinking, I am so thankful for those years that we got to have coffee every morning and be able to talk, about what was going on and you know, run this business. And I'm proud that he's been able to start from where he was at and see it be successful. You know, right now, I think I'm very proud of what we've done over the past, you know, 10 years. And, you know, it's been a family event. Even, you know, my little sister works here.
Yeah.
My son works here. My cousin works here. So it's a true family business. And, you know, that's really, you know, what's brought everything together. It just kind of, you know, really honestly, it's God's plan. You know, he just put it together and it's worked out great.
It's good to say yes to those plans, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they tend to work out better than our plans, right?
Right.
Excuse me. With that being said, you know, there's that, you think in terms of like, what is a business anyway? It's a bunch of ideas and some people paying you for those ideas in some way. You know, so why is that, from your perspective, from a family-owned business perspective, when someone pays for a service that you provide, how important is it to you that you do the absolute right thing for that customer and client, even if it costs a little more?
Yeah. And that is important. You know, that I think that's why we've stood out over the last, you know, 4 years. We've just put a ton of work into education, into our equipment, and just making sure that we have the knowledge to do things right. The safety features that they've built into cars now are very complicated.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on. And instead of just going with the flow and doing what everybody else had always done, we decided to step up our game and spend the time. And I say we, the entire shop. You know, we all bought in. We said we want to be the best body shop in Lubbock. And in our minds, probably the most important thing is safety. Is to make sure that whenever that vehicle leaves, you know, we want it to look good, but that's just a byproduct of all the effort that went in to make everything right when it came out. So, you know, the money part of it just kind of takes care of itself. The most important thing is we put out the best product that we possibly can. And I've got a great crew. You know, everybody works so hard, and there's a lot of pride in, you know, the brand. Everybody just we're just a good team. And, you know, that's the money just kind of takes care of itself. Long as we're doing what's right and we provide a good service, people keep coming back. And, you know, we've got a great customer base. You know, that's really, that keeps people coming back.
That's amazing. You know, you guys come and visit, you walk onto the property, you see the cohesiveness of everybody working together. And that, you know, that really stands out in a, you know, probably at a subconscious level. When someone comes in, they feel at ease, right? Because, hey, there's structure, there's focus, everybody's dialed in and on the same page. You can tell when that's happening in a business, and you can tell when it's not. You know, everybody that watches this, and us too, you know, you go out into the business world and you go out maybe to eat somewhere, you go and get some, you know, some paints or maybe some supplies for whatever you're working on, or whatever store you go into, you're out doing business. You can tell when something's off. You're like, hey, but you don't feel that here. If you come here, you feel the energy, you feel the attention to detail, you feel the care and the concern. With that being said, having safety and different things like that, what would you say is the impact of having certain certifications that are industry specific to what you do? How does that bring a measurable impact to your business?
Well, it's definitely made us aware of what we weren't doing right. Over the last, you know, basically 5 years, we've, you know, just dialed in and focused on making sure we have all the education we can get. And we've got, you know, manufacturer certifications along the way. And we've learned a lot. We've learned a lot about what we weren't doing right. And it's a little bit scary. You know, there's people all over town that they don't know better. They don't know they're doing wrong. Once you know better, you can't go back.
That's true.
And, you know, so all the manufacturers are different. They all have different styles of the way they do things. And, you know, every one of my body men back there have a computer in their toolbox. and it's required. I mean, you can't fix, a modern day car without hooking up to that computer. It's the first thing we do and the last thing we do, and we usually do it in between, whatever repairs we're doing. So it's definitely gotten a lot more technical, but the certifications are important because all these cars are so specific, to the manufacturer of what needs to be done and how they're repaired.
So safety for the end user, the client, the customer, safety for not only the customer that drives off the lot, but everyone that they impact where they drive.
Absolutely.
That's a kind of a tertiary opportunity to take care of the people at large, that are not directly impacted by a wreck or anything like that. Is there a quality vehicle going back out into the community that is actually safe on the road and does not cause any problems? That's very important. Now, with respect to, all the different models, there is a model in 2025 of a type of car, which is all the rage these days, right? It is electrical vehicles. Mm-hmm. So with respect to electrical vehicles, what would you say is the way that you approach that? Have you had any to work on? Has there been any problems? Is there any threats that's not common to the regular automobile, just the gas automobiles versus the electrical?
Yeah, electrical, or EVs is what they're calling them, are definitely, they're so new for us right now. There's nobody certified in Lubbock to actually work on any of the all-electric, your Teslas, your, what is it, Rivian? Is it? I'm trying to remember what the other one is called. But it's extremely expensive to get certified. You have to retool a lot of things. You have to buy new equipment. You have to go through certifications, and it's extremely expensive. At the moment, I think the only place anywhere close to here is Amarillo. And then I think next is Dallas. They may have recently done one in Midland. But it's to buy the parts you need to repair them, you need to be certified. So right now in Lubbock, it's a little bit tricky. People who buy, the EV cars, they do have, a Tesla dealership here, but body-wise, they don't really have anybody certified to work on them. We're non-structural certified, so small dings and dents and things like that, we can work on them. But when you get into, heavy hits and stuff, they literally have to be towed out of town to be repaired. Wow. So it's a little tricky buying those right now. They're fun and interesting and new. Of course, Nissan and Toyota and Ford, and they have them as well, and they're a little bit easier to deal with.
Gotcha.
Right now, Tesla, even to buy parts for, just a regular body shop, you can't.
Interesting.
And so it definitely, when you're making a decision to buy something like that, you definitely want to look at where you can get it repaired and how you can get it repaired. We've got the same situation with your kind of exotic cars, your Jaguars, Land Rovers, and things like that. Right now, there's nobody in Lubbock that's certified to work on them.
Wow.
And the reason is there's not that many. For some reason, recently, there was a whole lot of Land Rovers that were sold, Range Rovers and Jaguars. People are showing up with them, and if they have something that's a structural collision where you have to buy a structural part, we can't buy them. Nobody can in Lubbock right now. So they're having to send them out to Midland. I think maybe Amarillo has some locations, but nobody was getting certified with them because there wasn't that many around. It wasn't worth the the money and effort that it took to get certified to be able to work on them. So nobody was doing it, and it still hasn't quite got to that point where it makes sense, to do it, because it is very expensive to go through the manufacturer certifications.
Yeah, that's a very interesting concept. The electrical vehicle situation. So you see them driving around, right? You see them getting wrapped and different things like that. It's pretty neat, but that's a unique insight that, it's probably not commonly known that you have to have all the extra certifications to do that.
Yeah, even to have them on your site.
Very interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah, even to have them on your site gets a little complicated because insurance-wise, you're supposed to have over 50 feet distance from any other vehicle or any other structure.
Yeah.
If they've been damaged anywhere around their batteries.
Wow.
Because you can't put them out. When they catch on fire, they don't go out.
Yeah.
They burn themselves out, and that's how they go out. So, in Europe, they literally have saltwater tanks along their highways because their EVs have been around for a long time there, and they're fairly new here. But along major highways, they'll have saltwater tanks that they can take a crane, take the car, and dip it in it, and they just leave it in it. And the salt water helps somehow burn out longer, or faster.
Isn't that something?
But that's something that a lot of shops don't want. They don't want to have the hassle or the liability of having a car like that on their lot, because once it catches on fire, there's no going out, and you're not around. It could really
burn
do
your
a lot
whole
of
place
damage.
down.
Yeah.
Then you've got all
if
kinds
you have
of
it inside, that's a whole nother ballgame, because they burn in tents.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Of course, we saw on the news that weird scenario that happened in Vegas, the last several months, where that thing really, it contained its fire, but it was a hot burning fire, and it kept going. And so that's very interesting. It's definitely something to keep in mind for sure. Getting back into impact in the community, one of the things that Dan's company is involved in is they do sponsorships from time to time. And one of the organizations that they sponsor is the Lubbock Matadors. Is that correct? The soccer team here in Lubbock. If you didn't know there was a soccer team in Lubbock, now you know there's a soccer team in Lubbock. A great group of athletes there. And then tell us a little bit how you got into doing that.
Well, the Lubbock Matador started the same year that I started Hub City Body Shop. So that first year, I heard that they were starting a semi-pro soccer team in Lubbock, and I thought, oh, good luck with that. That's going to be tough. Football, basketball, baseball is king here. Good luck trying to start a soccer team in Lubbock. So I didn't give it a whole lot of thought, and I was busy. Didn't have time to think about anything else but what I was in the middle of at the time. And second year, Hub City Body Shop was kind of doing better, and I had time to look up, and that soccer team was still playing. I couldn't believe it. So I decided to go out to a game and saw some really good soccer. I was really impressed. I grew up playing soccer, and I played soccer in college, and have a soccer background, so I have a love for the sport. But I went out and saw that they were actually bringing really good soccer to Lubbock. So I got interested in the team. So I started going to games, but then it was more than just soccer. What really got me involved in wanting to do a sponsorship was the community. People were embracing it, having a great time. They're pulling 6,000 people to games, and it's so much fun. Everybody's getting together, and we're chanting and yelling and getting behind them. And the soccer players that they're bringing are from all over the world. And these soccer players come to Lubbock, and they're loving Lubbock. If some of them aren't leaving, they're staying here. And another reason why, and I'm helping sponsor the team, but they've also developed a youth academy.
Oh, wow.
Which is extremely important to me. And that's one of the major reasons why I got involved, and that we're working with that as well. Because growing up playing soccer, I grew up in New Mexico. There wasn't a lot of soccer. So if I wanted to play soccer, I had to travel. And I had to travel a lot. And it was a family thing. Little sister and little brother didn't get to do anything else. They jumped in the back of the van, and they hauled me wherever we were going, and we did it every single weekend.
Wow.
So I was seeing really good soccer players in Lubbock, young people in their teens that were having to go to Dallas every single weekend to play competitive soccer. If they wanted to be in that competitive environment and play at the higher levels, they were having to go to Dallas every single weekend. And I felt for them. It takes a lot. Number one, it takes a lot of money.
Yes, it does.
It took, it was a family affair. Everybody sacrificed something for me to be able to play soccer. And it's, I've seen the same thing here in Lubbock. And we've got really talented players. We've got plenty of people. We've got Amarillo. We've got Midland. We've got Eastern New Mexico. We've got plenty of, people to play, and plenty of competitive players. There just wasn't any structure, and there wasn't anybody to bring, an academy, a system here. and that was something that the Matadors were looking to do. So last year was or this year, they launched their academy, and big things are happening. It spurred more interest from other clubs. So now it's getting a lot more popular, and they're making opportunities for them to practice and play here, so they can get competitive here and go to Dallas and play Dallas teams there once a month or once a quarter, and go play tournaments in other places. But it's just making it affordable.
Yes.
One of the things that I think is wrong with American soccer is it's a bunch of rich college kids. Because they're the only ones that could afford to do these soccer tournaments, to travel all over the world. I was in the Olympic development program, and that's kind of one of the ways, you get to the highest levels. It's expensive.
It's expensive.
You have to travel.
Yep. The traveling part is one of the most expensive parts. Then you have the fee for the coaching and the training.
Yeah.
It could be several $1,000s just getting out the door.
So how many really, really, really good soccer players just couldn't afford to be able to be seen? So I'm hoping things like this, help soccer develop, and we can have our men's soccer team. Women's soccer team has been on top of the world for several years, but I want to see our American men's team, get to where they're dominating. We should. Yeah. We've got the money, we've got the talent. Yeah. We ought to be able to, go.
And training's a differentiator, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So like having an academy in Lubbock, Texas is a big deal. I go through that with, kids in sports. My son with baseball was something that, oh my goodness, like, wow, it costs that much to go?
Right, okay. It gets expensive.
Geez, what am I going to do? But when, some people don't have that choice. Some people are in a situation, a predicament that is just tough. And if you have, one of the things I learned, this is one of the reasons why you want to be successful in business, folks, is because of the impact, what you can leave behind with, if you've got the budget to assist an organization that's going to create a legacy opportunity for a family. That's why you get in business. There's many other reasons to get in business, but that's kind of the focus of why I think that God blesses a business, because if a business takes its resources and it stewards them well, it has the capacity to use profitability literally as a tool to influence the community in a positive way. And that is really, years ago, I met a guy by the name of Zig Ziglar. Yeah. And he was very well known in West Texas for professional development and sales training. At the time, he was the top sales guy there, and, personal development. He came to town, and the time that I met him, I really didn't know anything about him. Someone in college mentioned, hey, you should go see this guy Zig Ziglar in Lubbock. And I was living in Abilene at the time, doing social human services and doing that. I was enjoying what I was doing. It doesn't pay a whole lot, but I was enjoying what I was doing. And so one of the things I learned from Ziglar, that he said this, he said that someone had asked him one time, what's your highest priority in business, or your number one objective in business? It was the question. And he said, the guy said, isn't it to serve people? That's your number one objective in business. He goes, no. That's not my number one objective in business. He goes, my number one objective in business is to earn a profit so that I can achieve my highest priority, which is to serve people. So if you think about that, one pays for the other. Mm-hmm. If you cannot be profitable, you cannot employ people to serve people. And so if you're not profitable, you can't make a donation and leave an impact. And so that's one of the things I know Dan's involved in. Probably a bunch of other things that no one really knows. And that's between you and God, and that's how it should be. Don't let the left hand know what the right hand's doing when you're giving. You just give when it's your time to give and move on to the next thing. But there's a special organization that you support as well that I'll bring up, and which is called the Found Organization. Mm-hmm. That's a really unique organization that there's a donation box here on the property. If you come, you can literally come here for no other reason, just to donate stuff to kids that are in a home situation where they don't get a whole lot of nutrition outside of school environment. And during the summer, they're just kind of like, what do I do? So there's nutritional opportunities, and then there's apparel opportunities. There's a blanket drive about to happen for the winter months that are about to happen. And I know Dan's been a sponsor of them. There's a donation spot here on the property. If you happen to be in Lubbock and you want to make a donation, there's that box there. You can come in, meet Dan. He can plug you into the right people. But that's the whole idea of being successful in business, just from a mindset of like, hey, I believe there's a God, and he's taking care of me and my family. Let me use what I've benefited from, and let me help somebody else out. What do you have to say about that type of a legacy?
Well, it's funny that you brought it up the way you brought it up. With the opportunities that we've been given, we used to, when we had opportunities to give, it was kind of begrudgingly a little bit. We didn't feel comfortable with it. We didn't feel great about giving.
Yep.
And that doesn't feel good. If you don't,
that's true.
It just it doesn't feel right. If you write a check, you're like, oh, it hurts.
It shouldn't feel that way.
It shouldn't feel that way. And nowadays, I'll write checks that I would have never dreamed I could have 10 years ago, and I don't think anything of it. I know where it's going. I know what it's going to do.
Yep.
I don't worry about it. It's coming back.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be able to build something to be able to give more.
Amen.
And it's been amazing the way it's worked out. It feels so good. Man, the opportunities that we've got to, be able to give when people come in and they need it. One of the ones that I've really been enjoying is the Boys and Girls Club.
Oh, there, yeah.
I grew up in a small town, and there was no need for the Boys and Girls Club. I had 20 parents that knew what I was doing at all times. So it wasn't like, we needed a Boys and Girls Club. But living in a city like this, where they're located and what they're doing, they're saving lives. They're making huge differences in people's lives. Yeah. And, I get to see, the money spent there is so worth it. Yeah. It's saving lives, changing lives. It's changing generations.
Absolutely.
Not just one kid's life. If he can, get out of whatever bad situation he's in now or she's in now, it changes, the future. So, the Boys and Girls Club has been a big one. Malta Farms is a big,
that's right.
And important to me. They, it's a faith-based men's transition home, basically. Yep. And I just love that place. It's given men opportunity to come out of bad situations, typically prison. Yep. And it sets them up to succeed. If somebody comes straight out of prison and just goes straight into the workforce, they don't have driver's license, they don't have money, it's hard to get a job. Skills. It's tough. They end up doing something they shouldn't.
That's right.
And end up back where they were at.
Just to survive.
Yeah. With Malta Farms, they number one, they show them who God is. And they show them what real love is. A lot of these guys have never had somebody that they could look up to show them a work ethic, what hard work gets you. And they do that out there. They work hard. They have some hardworking men that are leaders out there.
I've been out there. They do work hard, folks.
Chad Everett is a great friend of mine, the hardest working man I've ever met in my life. You got to be careful, because if he calls this time of year and he wants you to help unload pumpkins, you better be ready to sweat.
That's what's happening right now. Yeah.
So, but they help them with all kinds of things, but they go out there and develop a work ethic. They give them hope. They give them Jesus.
Amen.
They help them get a license. They put some money in their account. So when they leave there, they've got a plan. They're ready to succeed. And it's important, because that really, really is changing generations. It's not just that man's life.
It's changing. Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you brought that up. I visited this place as well. Chad, I should give him a call. It'd be great to do a podcast with him. And then Shay at the Found organization as well. But yeah, literally, think about think about if you don't know, if you've never encountered grace, the grace, we're all living in grace. Even if you're listening to this and you're like, I don't believe in any of that. I understand. I used to be there too. I'm with you. I get it. But there's this moment in time where you start to recognize, how am I like, I just, how did that happen to someone else, but not to me? There's grace, the grace of God. And so he said that they give him Jesus. And so if you think about your business or what you're involved in and being successful gets people's attention that don't know Jesus. If you're successful, and not just business, because you can be wildly successful in business, right, Dan? Like you were saying, hey, I love my roofing business, but the family.
Yeah.
Just imagine that. That's not good. Coming home to a big house that's empty because you're never there and people left, that would be horrible. Think about that. And so that's that generational impact of a business, especially a family-owned business. And that's why we do what we do. That's why this little podcast exists. That's why, I wanted to reach out to Dan to just let you know, be an encouragement. If you're a business owner out there, if you're thinking about getting into business, there are examples in the community of how you can succeed and make an impact. And then also, be a testimony too, and be able to share your faith through the way that you live. The last guy that I interviewed, he's got tattoos everywhere. And so he's got this tattoo that's LGLP, and it's love God, love people. And I remember I was telling you about that and setting up for this. And you said that you don't have any tattoos, but if you were to get one, it would be a cross for right here. Why would you say that?
That's because it reminds whoever I'm shaking hands with as soon as I meet them. And it also reminds me who I am.
Yeah.
That way it's out there. It's known. When I put my hand out there, there's a cross there. I'm a Christian, and you're going to know it. I'm going to know it, and I'm going to act like it.
That's right.
And, having a business is very emotional. Man, I tell you what, it's a roller coaster sometimes. Yeah. And over the years, we have been through, a lot of different. Give us a minute.
Now, can I grab the card?
Sorry.
Sorry.
Thank you. It's okay. Thank you so much. Good to see you, Joshua. That's the way business goes, guys. No worries. That's all good.
So yeah, it's definitely it's an emotional roller coaster. You have to be tenacious.
Yeah.
There were times where back when we were Mako, we honestly we set the keys on the desk on Friday because we didn't get it done, and we weren't sure if the bank was coming to take them or not. And they didn't come on Monday, so we just kept going.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that got us to the point we're at now. Things are a lot easier now than they used to be.
That's really a good point. You've done a lot with systems and putting structures into your business as well. Mm-hmm. That's another point as well. Tell us a little bit about that journey.
Well, Mako had systems, and they were good systems for, and that's probably how I liked the structure. Mako, like I said, was known for doing really cheap paint jobs, and for you to be able to make any kind of living doing what we were doing, it was a lot of work for very little money. You had to be very, very good at what you did. You have to be. Your time has to be spent very wisely. Mm-hmm. And so to get the amount of work that we were able to get done, it took those systems. And, a lot of those systems I integrated into going from a paint shop to a collision center. Mm-hmm. And, when new people come to work here, it's definitely an eye-opener for them because they come from places that don't produce as much. So I'm a very demanding boss. Everybody that works for me knows that I expect a lot, and I know my guys are capable of doing it. And I don't ask them to do anything that I haven't done or wouldn't be willing to do. Mm-hmm. But yes, I am a very, very demanding boss. I don't know. And I don't even like to use the word boss. I feel like I want to say leader,
Yep.
Teammate.
That's it.
But I don't ask these guys to do anything that I haven't done or
Yep.
wouldn't be willing to do. But this is a hard-working bunch of guys,
They are.
and I'm
They keep their eye on the
that's
ball.
part of the success. I've got I think I've got 4 people that have been with me over 10 years now,
Wow.
and that's a big deal.
Yep.
It's culture.
Mm-hmm.
The culture around here, people know that what we're capable of and what I expect, and
Mm-hmm.
and it's a high standard.
It is a high standard. You can feel that walking in here. That's really important culture. There's that. I think Peter Drucker, some famous economist, is quoted at saying this. You can have the best strategy in the world, but his quote is this. It's attributed to him. It might be somebody else, who knows, if you know. But I've always thought it was Drucker that said this. Culture eats strategy for breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
You can have a nice little prepared strategy, hey, here's our go-to-market strategy.
Yeah.
But if the culture doesn't adopt it, it's useless. It's almost a waste of time, is what it feels like.
Yeah.
So I know that you guys get started pretty early around here too. So how do you start your day? How do you end your day here?
Well, we I get here at about 7 o'clock in the morning. So we used to get here a lot earlier than that, but
Mhm.
we've gotten to where systems have gotten better, and we're able to not spend 15, 17 hours a day here. We're down to 10 to 12.
All right.
But, I usually get here around 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning and start opening things up, walk around, see what we've got, start, making plans in my mind. And then my estimators show up, between 7 and 7:30. My production manager gets here about the same time, and we start talking over what everybody needs and what's needing to be done. And then we have a huge whiteboard that we put everything down, and we draw a map for that day, the next day, next week. So, we at 7:55 every morning, we have a meeting with the entire team and go over, what we've done, what we're doing that day, and where we're headed. And, that definitely is a great way to start. It's important that everybody has a direction and knows where they're headed. And that's, I'm really lenient as far as lunch hours and when people will leave. But that 7:55 morning meeting is the only thing that I require out of everybody in the shop.
Mhm.
You have to be there, because we all get off on the same foot and know what everybody else is doing.
Mm.
And so, typically, at the end of the day, when the job's done, everybody goes home. So that could be 5 o'clock, that could be 10 o'clock.
Yep.
We don't really have a set time for leaving.
Gotcha.
But, it's like I said, everybody here is so proud and such, teammates that there's really not when the job's done is when they go.
Yep.
So it's just, there's not any set time to leave this place. It's just whenever you're finished,
Mhm.
that's when it's time to go rest, and we'll come back and do it again.
That's outstanding. Well, we could just keep going on and on and on, guys, but we'll kind of cap it there. Is there anything you'd like to tell people that you just maybe something on your heart about business or just life, family, anything?
Well, I've had a lot of people, because we have had, especially over the last 5 years, had a lot of success. I've had a lot of people come to me, especially other body shops. Man, how'd you do it? What did you do?
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, it was just a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. If you think you want to be a business owner, be ready to put in the blood, sweat, and tears. Be ready to sacrifice.
Yep.
Unless you've got just a fantastic idea and lightning strikes, be prepared to sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of sacrifice that went on. My father, my mother, man, they put everything, all their savings, everything they had into this business.
Mm.
And, it provided a life and a lifestyle for them for, that 15 years. But, it took the next 5 years for it to really blow up and do what it needed to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been, I'm super excited that we're sitting where we're at right now, and we're able to do the things that we were able to do. Being able to give to the organizations that we give is
Mhm.
big.
Yep.
It's such a good feeling to know that mom and dad, little sister, my son, Chad, all of the crew that we've worked, done what we've been able to do, worked that hard, and be able to give back what we've been able to give back, and it's going up. And every year, it's better and better. And it's just a good feeling. It's a good feeling to be able to be able to do what we've been do, and the opportunities that it opens up, and the people we've been able to help, and to see the difference that we make.
Mm-hmm.
It's rewarding. It's very rewarding.
That's awesome. That's market impact, folks. When you can give, and that's what it's all about. So thank you very much, Dan.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Let's see if we recorded it.
All right.